Oh, this is my week 5 data presentation, and so today I present this to everybody and Professor Larson, and he gave me some very useful suggestions, and yeah, I will probably look at on that later. But let's take a look at our what I did so far. So this is the data, reading in the data, and yeah, this data is large. I can tell it's large, but surprisingly, I didn't run it for like 10 minutes. So maybe because I have a shortcut for this, so it only takes me like no more than one minute to actually run it. So that's actually surprising. And then yeah, and so what I did for this data set is I take out the Minnesota data and the California data, and I kind of compare them with the national average. So the column I picked specifically for today is the CLR, which is clearance for 18 all crimes. So Professor Larson actually said he doesn't know what 18 stands for. Maybe people under 18 or maybe people over 18. So here I don't know neither but I'm assuming it's people who under 18, and it's all crime. It's not just a murder, a like a theft, or it's a combination of all crimes. So yeah, and I what I did is I basically calculate the increase rate. So it is this year compared to the year before that year, and but Professor Larson told me that we can actually calculate for the crime rate, which should be the number of crime compared to how many people. So say in 100 or 100, sorry, in 10,000 people, there are how many crimes? Like that's crime rate. But I didn't know that before, so I just calculated the increase rates, and the funny thing is, he actually knows what I did here. So if you see, I sorted 1964 because before 1964 this number was empty or NAs, and after that I also I filter again to get one last year, because I do lose one. I because basically the idea is you used next year to minus this year, but since this year, before this year, there's no previous year in the data set. So if I do calculate the increase rate, for year 1964 will be here, like in super high. It's it's not even in the same scale. So I have to take it out from. And then the funny thing is, Professor Larson knew exactly what I did, and for this part, and it was really funny. And so this is national average. So I basically this is yeah, you can see it is around 0. Sometimes it's a little bit jumpy. So and I also calculated the Minnesota average and increase in the increase rate. So this is the data. This is the graph, and you can see it's much more pointy, jumpy, and not stable. So I put those together. So you can see the blue line is the national increase rate. Comparison between the national average and Minnesota, and the clears of 18 years old total crime. So you can see Minnesota increase rate is pretty much around the national average. Where the average states everything's average, but it is a much more jumpy or not stable, noisy compared to national average. So and to actually know if other states are have a much higher increase rate, I do calculate the California one here. So basically everything is same except for this is for California, and you can see the California is much more flat except for this outlier. So it is peak. So it is less jumpy, and if you compare to the Minnesota one. So I believe there are one very specific reason for this is because Minnesota data set is much smaller than California based on our population. And the standard deviation for California is much bigger than Minnesota to cause this problem. And so I do compare the actual number here. You can see the California is way here. It is even like 1 million. So so some years over 1 million, but I mean Minnesota just down here it's very flat. So yeah, so it supported my idea of that. Say Minnesota data set is much smaller, and so I also calculate the standard deviation. So you can see Minnesota is smaller, and California is much higher. So which turns out it actually makes sense. So yeah, please let me know if any question. And I'm sorry about the delay of my main thesis and the initial source. I do upload the initial source last week, but somehow the video disappeared. So I will try to redo that as soon as possible. Thank you.